risk, how to reduce the liability of COVID-19 lawsuits. You will get free legal advice today from one of Arizona's best law firms, as ranked by U.S. News. Learn answers to common questions that businesses have about liability. Welcome to Be in the Know Marketing. Hi, I'm your host, Jody Liller with Liller Design Works. Our guest is Marc Goldsen, a partner in the Davis, Miles, McGuire, Gardner law firm. He specializes in complex transactions, regulatory compliance, and policy planning. Marc, welcome to our show. So Marc, is it legal to require customers to wear a mask if they say they have a medical condition?
And the answer to that question, as is often the case with complex legal issues, is it depends. What I can say is to make yourself safe as a business, to be able to do that, it is a lot better if you have a clearly delineated and communicated policy in advance requiring mask wearing and social distancing than it is if you try to do it piecemeal on a person-by-person basis. And here you're dealing with the interaction of laws having to do with COVID-19 and the protection of customers in general with the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And the Americans with Disabilities Act basically says that it prohibits companies from instituting criteria for eligibility for customers to be admitted or to be serviced based on a disability unless that criteria is necessary in order for the business to operate safely. And that criteria, that safety criteria, has to be based on actual risks, not on speculation or stereotypes or generalizations. And for example, guidance everywhere is saying if you are relying on CDC guidelines or Arizona Department of Health Services guidelines, Department of Labor guidelines, OSHA guidelines, you're pretty safe in using that as a basis for determining whether or not you can restrict service to those who are wearing masks and whether you can ask those who are not wearing masks to leave. But again, in order to be able to take advantage of that on a broader spectrum, you need to have a policy in place that advises your customers in advance that in order to get service from your business, they are going to have to wear masks. And you're also going to have to establish that other accommodations aren't sufficient. So like, for example, if social distancing is possible, and in most businesses it's not because there isn't 6 feet for every customer, there could be an argument that a business should institute that rather than force someone with a health condition to wear a mask. The Americans with Disabilities Act does permit a retailer to deny goods and services if the presence of someone will result in a direct threat to the health and safety of others, but only when the threat cannot be eliminated by modifying existing policies, practices, or procedures, or providing other reasonable accommodations. And so that is why it's important, rather than doing it piecemeal, to have a policy up front that basically defines what is needed in order to provide for the safety of the customers or clients in general, and what is expected in order to do so. If there is no clear regular policy of turning away customers who don't wear masks, the businesses in that case are required under the Americans with Disabilities Act to identify how or why a particular customer or client's condition or behavior would constitute a direct threat to the other customers. And so in those instances, basically, if you're going to rely on piecemeal exclusion, the only way you're going to really be able to get away with that is if a client who won't wear a mask is actually exhibiting symptoms that are associated with COVID. If they are breaking out in a sweat and showing a fever, if they are coughing, or something along those lines. If a person is asymptomatic, or if they have other protection like a scarf, you're going to have a hard time forcing them to wear a mask or leave unless you have a clearly delineated policy in advance. One other thing to note here that I think is important. there are several businesses or professional offices where a certain customers or clients need to read lips. If you're serving deaf clientele and you need to read lips, it is good business sense and frankly helps you out from a legal compliance standpoint if you have alternative means of communication for that to accommodate those disabled customers. For example, if everyone's wearing masks, to have a text communication system, or provide a disposable pen and pad for communications, or have a sanitized dry erase board.
Mark, that was so informative. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise and educating us about COVID-19 and liability. If you want to see more episodes of Be in the Know Marketing, join us on our Facebook page, Liller Design Works. And hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at beintheknowmarketing.com. Stay safe, be well, be in the know.